Welcome everyone to our Smart Product series here at New Res. We're always glad to have you every month. I know this month we're going to be capturing more high net worth and near miss clients with SmartEdge. This is really going to be talking about how you capture more business that traditionally falls out of traditional guidelines. And so we're excited to have everybody here. So jumping in and introducing you to the people, my name's Don Chiesa. I'm a vice president here at New Res, and I have Claire Kafori and Jevin Stafiri with me. Claire is our business development manager for all things non-QM, and I look forward to turning it over to her shortly. And Jevin, he manages everything from product rollout to our underwriting teams and is just critical to us continuing to grow this channel. And so we're excited to kind of jump in. I know I've been traveling. I've been off. I'm at my son's graduation in Syracuse, and I know we had one of the keynote speakers, a lady named Jacqueline Saturn. She is the president of Virgin Records, and she had a great story just chatting a little bit about how hard she worked and asked a million questions. But she said the reason why she was able to move up so quickly was a lot of the artists that she did business with just learned to trust her. And I've always said, in the mortgage business. We're not really in the mortgage business. We're in the trust business. And the more you can earn the trust of your clients or your referral partners, the more business you'll get. So kind of flipping to the next page, Claire. We're going to chat a little bit about that because our Smart Edge product that we're going to talk about identifies, how to take the right clients. These are clients that are well qualified, but for various reasons may not qualify through traditional guidelines. So we're going to focus those flexible qualification paths for borrowers, how to leverage the Smart Edge program with asset-rich customers, whether it's additional income through assets or completely qualifying them just solely on their assets. And we're going to chat a little bit around how to find these types of clients and where to get those referrals. And again, I just really believe it's the getting the confidence to win more business by having your clients trust that they know you can close loans. And when you partner with New Res, you know confidently we're going to close your loans because we just have such a great array of products and great people here to get your loans closed. Before we move on, I throw this last comment here. Q&A will be available during this webinar, so feel free to ask a lot of questions. If you guys don't see it on the bottom of your screen where it says a question mark in Q&A, click the dot, dot, dot more, and then click on the one that says Q&A. Drop all your questions in there. One of us will try to answer your questions within this webinar. And if we can't, we will be sending out copies of it and trying to answer and do some FAQs later. So I've said enough. I'm going to turn it over to our business development manager, Claire. Claire, on to you.
Thanks. Thanks, Don, and welcome everyone. One misconception we hear all the time is that non-QM loans are slower, they're more expensive, they're harder. But with SmartEdge and our Smart Series, it's simply not true. You can close fast, pricing is comparable to other newest products, and most importantly, it makes tough loans significantly easier. So instead of grinding through trying to make a loan work, trying to force a DTI to fit into agency rules, SmartEdge helps you and lets you look into the whole borrower. The key shift here is SmartEdge should be looked at first, not as a backup once everything else fails. So let's talk about flexibility. SmartEdge allows ineligible AUS findings. It's manual underwrite. We have loan amounts up to 3.5 million. And then 100% of funds needed for the transaction can come from a gift if your LTV is 80% or below. DTI. So we have our max DTI of 50%, and you can get an exception to go up to 55% with compensating factors. We allow assets to help you qualify your borrower. So there's asset qualifier, which we're going to talk a little bit more about in a couple of slides. And we allow assets as income, which is also known out there as asset depletion. Our credit scores go as low as 640 on this product. We allow one mortgage late in the last 12 months, verify with a VOM or VOR, and first-time home buyers are allowed on primaries up to 1.5 million. Cash out is available with 6 month seasonings. With this product, we offer temporary buy downs, something that's not really seen out there is an option to do a 1.5 to zero point 0.5. And we have your traditional 2-1, 3-2-1. And non-warrantable condos are an option out here, as well as condo tells. Coming soon, little sneak peek. In the future, you got to look out for an added feature of allowing vesting in the name of an LLC on our SmartEdge product. So, got a lot of feedback on that. We're happy to say it's coming in the near future. So, keep your eye out for that.
Blair, I just want to kind of reemphasize that far right column where you talk about temporary buy downs. I don't hear enough of it in this space where we're using these types of products. And in this rate environment, I'm seeing a lot of builder incentives out there. I'm seeing a lot of motivated sellers. So being able to offer this temporary buy downs where they can actually have a payment that why the client waits for rates to kind of change, I think is huge. In addition to being able to qualify more borrowers, now you're making it easier for them to make payments. So I just think that's a great feature I like to highlight because I get a ton of feedback on it.
No, thanks, Dan. That's good. Good, great point. All right, so assets as income, as I mentioned, sometimes referred as asset depletion. It's ideal when a borrower is just short on income, or actually it can be used on its own to qualify. So think retirees, your self-employed borrowers. We convert assets into monthly qualifying income by dividing your eligible personal assets into an income stream. So it's by 60 months on a primary, which is huge, and second homes 240 months. And a second home, sorry, 60 months on primary and second homes and 240 months on investment properties. Um, a nice win, as well as assets held jointly with other individuals are considered the borrower's own assets. So just doesn't have to be in the borrower's name. So if you just miss income, you're just over DTI, you need a little bit more. SmartEdge can help here with qualifying as assets as income or um, assets on its own. This is related to DTI. And so if you're looking at high DTIs, but you have a lot of assets, we have another program out there that can help you. And that's our asset qualifier loan. So, asset rich clients, we make it really simple for them. This is where we really remove friction. So, asset qualifier is the path of least resistance for high net worth borrowers. There's no DTI, there's no income calculation. Best of all, it offers the same pricing as our full doc SmartEdge, and we're qualifying borrowers based solely on assets. They have to have a minimum of 500,000 in eligible assets. So this is ideal for your high net worth individuals with little or no verifiable income. We have recently self-employed borrowers or business owners, borrowers on tax extensions, and just investors reinvesting cash flow. And so, best of all, by eliminating income documentation, you're also cutting down on some processing time. So, it's a huge win out there. Jevin, I know we've been talking for a little bit. Do we have any good questions coming in to the
Um,
Q&A?
yeah, I think from a presentation standpoint, we always get the question about will you get this deck after the training? And yes, you will get the deck. So that comes through a lot. Just the asset-based income and asset qualifier, right? Just to be clear, the asset qualifier is a different product than just Smart Edge. So when you're pricing it out, make sure you're selecting asset qualifier if you want the no DTI one, or just the regular Smart Edge product if you're just trying to use income for a DTI purpose to get additional income, right? That's the big differentiator here. A lot of our sales partners don't know, right, that you can use the asset-based income by itself to qualify the loan too. So the whole income stream can be assets for income just on our standard Smart Edge product.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of great questions, a lot of great answers. So, thank you for bringing them. All right. So, it's just in time. So, is Jevin was talking about it. We have a side by side here with the difference. And just to reiterate, the asset qualifier is a different program here on the left where it has no DTI. It's primary, second homes. And again, you use assets to fully qualify the loan. It does require some residual income or residual assets after closing. And then asset-based income, it can be used primary, second homes, investments. We still calculate the DTI and then use assets to supplement the income or qualify on its own. If the borrower fits the asset qualifier box too, it's a clean, fast solution. All right, let's walk through an example here. So the borrower is not of retirement age. They don't have traditional income. They have high net worth. They want to qualify based solely on assets. They have 1 million in gross assets, and they're a family of three. So over to the left, we do have an asset qualification calculator that's available to you, found in all regs under the Smart Series forms, Smart Calculator, and it's just pre-filled out. But as once you enter in, let's say you have your Schwab accounts, you see the Bitcoin, credit union, EFT, you'll see that there is a percentage used to discount, and that automatically populates for you. And so after all of the haircuts, it's 50% or 85. We know savings is cash, so that's 100%. The total assets after all the haircuts is 627,500. There's a down payment of 125,000 on this loan, and then 216 or 16,000 that includes a new PIDIA payment plus liabilities. We're going to times that out by 60 months. So after we take out the total assets, down payment, the new PIDIA liabilities, our total is 286,500. We divide it by 60 months. That's going to give you 4,775,000 per month, which is higher than our required residual income on this loan is 3,000. So there's a family size of three. So there's three calculations that we need to qualify. First, we need 500,000 in assets after the haircuts. The second here is your total residual assets has to be greater than the total debt service, which it is in green here. And then we also need to make sure that the residual income needs to be met. So in this case, we're going to get the green box that the loan qualifies using the assets that this client has. All right.
If I jump in,
I
Next
was just
step.
going to say,
Yeah,
if I
go
jump in on
back.
that last one on for
You
asset
can.
qualify, right? There's a lot of questions about the calculation, where you can find our calc, et cetera. I always like to stress, right? We have a full service underwriting scenario desk here at NewRez that your AEs have access to. We'll do this calculation for you, right? So you know before you accept the deal, what if it qualifiers or not, or on the asset-based income, what income we're going to use. So you don't have to be an expert here, right? Let us be the experts for you and help you out with the calc here.
yeah, and if
Yeah,
you're trying to
great
find
call
some
out,
of these
great team.
Yep. And if you're trying to find some of these great tools, know Jevin shared a little bit of it with somebody who was asking that question, but reach out to your A's. We didn't emphasize that enough. Like, if you just need to know how to get around our system or where to go to submit loans and the scenario desk that Jevin was talking about, your A's are here to help. So reach out to them. Questions I've seen pop in there around crypto, which assets we use under crypto, what assets we use if they're retirement. Like this is a huge product saver. This is when we were talking about that trust factor, this asset qualifier product where you have somebody that just hasn't been employed long enough or recently retired, but they're asset rich. This is really a program that allows you to save and create homes for people. So please reach out to your A. Please walk through, make sure you can understand how these calculators work because this has been a deal saver for a lot of people and won over realtors with our partners.
Yeah, it sure has. All right, so let's get into the next one. And this is using asset-based income scenario. So with this example, the borrower is of retirement age. They need 3,500 a monthly income to qualify, and they have 450,000 in gross assets. You can use assets as income again as the only source or a supplement. Uh, Crypto is also could be used in the scenario because we have our 401ks, we have our IRAs, we have Bitcoin, Charles Schwab, we have the bank account. Again, the calculator is going to give you the percentage of haircut used for it. And so in this situation, they have our gross assets were 450 and the net assets were 337 500. And so with this program, we do require some reserves. And in this case, it's 3 months of the PIDIA, so it's 10,500. So once you take the net assets, you subtract out your cash to close, your monthly accounts, and then your reserves, your total reductions is 112 on 500. So in total, our eligible assets for income was 225,500. We're able to divide that by 60 because it's a primary residence. And so the monthly qualifying income that we can use using assets based income is 3,758,000 and sorry, 3,758 and 33 cents.
Yeah. Just to reiterate, like as Jevin said earlier, 100% of the income can be used from this asset-based income. You don't have to use asset qualifier, so if you want to qualify about that. But the big win here is you have a lot of clients that are just missing on the debt ratio, being able to use on a jumbo product, which we can also use this asset-based income as a supplement to full doc income to allow clients to qualify. So again, that's what makes this product so easy to use and competitively priced. So I know we chatted about that in an earlier slide. Make sure your A is walking you through how to price this so you can compare it to jumbo pricing and high balance pricing because you'll see how huge of a win it is. You agree, Claire?
Yeah, no, it's a huge win again. And as John mentioned, we have our team that will help you calculate this up front so you know exactly what you're working with before we get the borrower into process. So now I think the most important part is, now that we understand a little bit about what it has to offer, is where these deals actually come from. I'm going to hand this back off to Dan.
Yeah, and it's kind of an open dialogue here, Claire, but what you were saying earlier, I just find super important is I think a lot of folks look at this as a fallout product where you're trying to take a client that you couldn't get approved and then trying to recover. I would actually start looking in and asking these questions up front because that's where you're going to get that trust and confidence with some of these different referral partners. And right, these referral partners probably aren't a surprise to anybody, right? I'm not going to shock you when I say real estate agents, CPAs, tax advisors, and financial advisors and wealth managers. But it's really how you approach those. Don't just go to your real estate agents and ask them for business and tell them you have this great program. Really start trying to dive in. Do you deal with a lot of self-employed borrowers? And so, right, when you start looking at listing prices, when you start getting to a certain level, you will find a higher propensity. If you go back to the other slide, Claire, you will find a higher propensity of your self-employed buyers for those larger loan amounts. Tell them you have programs that make right? Loans easier, right? So many self-employed borrowers are hard. As Claire likes to say, she has an internal program she runs. These are the smart loans that help you close more. And so we like taking hard loans and making them easy. If you have investors that are acquiring a lot of properties, right? Some of them want to go full doc because it gets them better LTVs or better price. So always start here and then you can fall back to other products we own like the SCR or bank statements. Clients losing deals because they're writing off uh, taxes, right? How many deals fall apart because right at the end they just don't have enough income to make the deal work. Others that when we start going through is tax advisors, heavy Schedule C or K1 clients, right? we just had a webinar last month that talked a lot about that. I don't know a lot of people that I know that are self-employed that only have one business. So many of them, when you start looking at the statistics, have more than one business. And imagine not only are the tax returns thick, but any one of them can be on an extension. And so, right, as you see here in the quote, we don't compete with that tax strategy. We just finance around it. Many of these clients are well qualified, but, they're trying to employ strategies to keep their tax liabilities low. They have great assets, but great income. They just don't fit the conventional buckets. That doesn't mean they're bad clients. And then lastly, on the financial advisors and wealth management, walking in and talking to them about asset preservation is super important. Asset preservation is what they're in. That's their job. They're trying to invest assets. They're not trying to take them out and liquidate them so they can buy real estate. They don't manage real estate. They manage other types of financial assets. So it's super important, especially, with people that are recently retired. If you could talk to them about, you have clients that are recently retired that may have to be setting up distributions so they can qualify for a conventional loan, or they just don't have a job, so they don't qualify. We just chatted about our asset qualifier program and just how many deals that saves. So let's chat a little bit more about maybe the questions you can ask. I know I started to kind of reference some of those, but right, you're chatting with things that are going to trigger these conversations, loans denied for DTI or tax returns, right? You have solutions now. Like client says, my CPA tells me that I don't show enough income. You want to make sure you're talking to these realtors or CPAs and making sure that they're your great referral source for these. Or I have plenty of assets, but my W-2 income is low, or I recently started a new job, or I recently retired. You want to start digging in deeper. Make sure your clients are showing you all their assets and not just enough to qualify. I have a lot of conversations with loan officers or even friends where they're like, yeah, I knew the amount I needed to close. And so they shared only that account, but they had other retirement accounts. Start asking them, did you have other jobs? Do you have 401ks from other jobs? Do you have assets that you're not wanting to show me because you didn't, think they could be used or you didn't want to use them? And make sure that you're sharing with them that these programs allow you to close loans faster, right? If we're giving you alternatives where you're not having to ask for that extension to be completed or other things, you can just close loans faster. That's what they want to do in this market, right? We have a tight housing market out there, and realtors want to know they can close fast. They don't want to have to refinance using private money, or maybe you can take them out of the hard money private investors. Pulling cash out, a lot of these programs don't have the same seasoning requirements as Claire shared earlier when it comes to pulling cash out. So again, we're trying to make loans easier. And then I know if you click to the next one, Claire, trying to use simple language, client-facing language when you're talking to clients, right? Asset qualifier. None of your clients are going to understand the verbiage asset qualifier. It's like those in the restaurant business. You don't say spud, you ask them about their baked potato. Similar here, you don't want to use the word asset qualifier. You want to start asking them, how do you have enough significant liquid assets? We may be able to help you qualify just based on what you own, not what you earn. Again, try to take it and put it in simple language. On our SmartEdge, again, we like to think smart, close more, and that's why it's our smart series. And edge is because it's just miss, but try to put that in client-facing terms. This is for clients that just miss agency or jumbo. It doesn't always have to be jumbo, right? We talked earlier about your high net worth, but these are really anybody that have assets. I was recently talking to a fireman who recently retired and moved. He had plenty of assets, working for, the state for so long. It's just that he had recently retired. So they may be too rigid and they think they don't qualify. And it's your job to kind of walk them through this simple language. And in closing, and then we'll open it up to Jevin and Claire for some more questions. Mine your existing database. There's low hanging fruit in there, right? Look at your past 24 to 36 months. There's so much changing in the mortgage market, right? We chatted a little bit last month and even referenced it here that we're allowing crypto as these assets that we didn't previously allow. You know, dig into any of your loans that may have been declined where you see that within their 1003. Like just pull out your 1003s. AI is wonderful. Drop some of your 1003s into AI and have it look for clients that may fit this criteria. Clients with self-employed or recent business growth. Maybe you had to turn somebody down because they had only had a business for 10 months. Now they're at 12. Make sure we're circling back to these clients because you now can combine a shorter term business with assets. You know, a lot of people that are in self-employed have a bunch of assets because that's how they started their business. Have conversations, go back and look at them, recent business growth, past hard money loans or bridge bars you did, right? They're coming up on that balloon, or you wanted to get them out of that loan so they don't have to worry at the end of that contract. So, just a re-engagement email I'll give you for kind of closings. If you were told no before or had to jump through impossible hoops, there may be smarter options now. So again, schedule a lunch and learn, quick 10-minute Zooms. Everybody loves for it to be brief, where you can get interest, chat with them about the great things you do.
Any last questions, Jevin, that we want to help answer before we move on?
Nah, there's nothing else in the chat on my end,
Nothing.
Claire.
Okay, just mainly about the asset as income, if this is going to be available, which it will be. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for spending the time with us today. We look forward to joining us on our next webinar next month, which is going to be digging into, we're going to get into some non-warrantable condos. So favorite topic by all. Thanks, everybody.